people were invited. Honorable Minister of Works was invited. The Commissioner of Works in Osun State, where the project was executed. Then the Managing Director of Kali Construction. So if you are present, please, we want you to, and the petitioner too, the petitioner. So 4 of you, please identify yourself, introduce yourself if you are present.
Christian Church of God, and I am the petitioner. Thank you so much. Shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
That the MD of Kati does not understand and speak English. So we are here with one of the engineers who worked on the site in dispute. And of course, like I also informed this committee the last time we were here, I am a legal advisor to the company.
Okay, go ahead and just
as a committee, please. I, Mark Soga, do solemnly swear and affirm that the evidence I shall give before this committee, before this distinguished committee, shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Fashola, affirm that the evidence I shall give before this committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Works was invited, along with the MD of Kali Construction Limited, and then the petitioner too are to reappear today. And both 3 of them are here today. To let the people at home know the reason why we are here, at least this petition was laid on 9th of February 2021. Pastor Niyi Adebanjo, on behalf of Pastor E. Adeboye, wrote against Khalid Construction Nigeria Limited for allegedly claiming the sum of 151,508,000 naira 1 naira and 22 kobo as reimbursement for the rehabilitation of Ifewara Road, Osun State. He stated that the rehabilitation of the road was awarded and paid for by Pastor E. Adeboye in the sum of 188,440,242 naira only, and that the claim by the Kali Construction Nigeria Limited was illegal and unjust. He therefore requests that the Senate should look into the matter, and among other things, urge Kali Construction Nigeria Limited to refund the sum of 188,440,242 naira only to the coffers of the federal government. Pastor Niyi Adebanjo and a representative of Kali Construction Nigeria Limited, Mas Oga, appeared before the committee on 10th March 2021 and made presentations. On the strength of their presentations, the committee directed Kali Construction Nigeria Limited to show to the committee the evidence of work it completed, certificate of completion, or the extent of work done, reason for abandonment of the project till date. The parties were also directed to make a verbal presentation of the ongoing work at the project site. The petitioner, the respondent, Honorable Commissioner for Works of Osun State, and the Honorable Minister of Works were invited to appear before the committee today. That was the synopsis of the petition and then the brief today. We will now leave, we have invited the Honorable Minister. What the committee resolved then was that if jobs were awarded since 2010, and it has not been completed up to now, and there are years of abandonment, we see no justification for the officers of Ministry of Works to have gone ahead to pay for job not done. It is also known to this committee that Pastor E. Adeboye and RCCG, through their intervention to assist the community where he is domiciled, took up these roads that have been abandoned over the years and did construction and spent 188 million plus. To their amazement, the officers of Ministry of Works were alleged to have gone ahead to pay the contractor who has abandoned the site for many years. So these are issues we want the Minister of Works to throw more light to this committee so that we'll be able to know whether the money paid to the construction company was actually was genuine or legal before the eyes of the law. Because from the presentation they gave us the other time, it appears that they have abandoned the project for many years. And therefore, we need clarification. That's why the Minister of Works has been invited here today to come and give us update. What constitutes the actions of the agents of government to pay company that has abandoned site for many years. So, Honourable Minister, you have the floor. Thank you.
In my previous statement, I am attending on behalf of the Ministry of Works in response to your letter of the 24th of March, 2021. That letter said that you had been investigating the petition of Pastor Niyi Adebanjo against Cartil Construction Nigeria Limited, and you invited me to appear today, 15th April 2021 at 1 p.m. As you pointed out when you opened this session, I was here at 1 p.m. Now, let me say that it is in your opening statements now that I have heard for the first time that a hearing had actually taken place. That's my understanding, that the parties had been here before. We were not aware. So I don't know what has been said. So what we have prepared a response to are the documents that you sent to us. And I believe that you have our response. So I will just go to the response. As you have stated, the response you have is a 6-page document, I believe. You confirm that you have that before I speak to it. And then it has an annexure A, which contains, I believe, 18 pages. Do you confirm that that is what you have? Okay, thank you. Now, the documents forwarded to us, inviting us to come, show that there was a petition by Redeemed Christian Church of God on the 25th of November 2020. And in that petition, Redeemed claims that Cartil had made a claim for rehabilitation of roads and was subsequently paid 151.508 million as a refund for work which Redeemed claims that was done by Pastor Adeboye, and that these payments were made between 2016 and 2019. That is the substance of the petition, as I understand it and as you have summarized it. I also understand by reading the petition that Redeemed is saying that if anybody was due to be reimbursed, it should be Pastor Adeboye. I think that's the substance of their claim. Now, the first point to note, if you go to page 2 of our response in paragraph 5, the road in question is not a federal road. That's the first point I wish this committee to note. The Ife to Ifewara road is not a federal road. It is a state road within the Osun State in the southwest of Nigeria, and it is a 15-kilometer long road. We have provided on page 14 of the annexure an imagery of the route map showing the road. It intersects, if you go to page 14 of the annexure, you will see the location, the drawing from Google Earth, showing how the road traverses and intersects Fajui and Ondo-Ife Road in Osun State. So the first question that should arise is, how did the federal government get to fund and award a contract for a state road? Mr. Chairman, distinguished senators, if you go through the records and your budgets, you will find out that this road is one of the several constituency roads initiated by a member of the Senate, then serving to have this road constructed, and this was in 2010. 2010, 5 years before the Buhari administration. 6 years or 5 years before my appointment as minister. So it was the previous administration under whose watch this took place. And we are here just to explain, only because government is a continuum. Now, the contract was awarded on the 21st of December 2010 from the records in our ministry. It was awarded for 662,760,771 naira and 75 kobo, with an order to commence work on the 7th of March 2011 and to complete on the 7th of November 2011. The award letter you will find at page 15 of the annexure to the memorandum. The award letter is dated 7th of February 2011. Now, Mr. Chairman and distinguished members, you must be aware of a legislation called the Public Procurement Act. I think it's an act of this parliament. By section 36 of that act, contractors are entitled to be paid an amount not exceeding 15% as mobilization fee when a contract is awarded. So if you go to paragraph 7 of our response, you will see that the contractor, after the contract was awarded, initiated as a constituency project, the ministry demanded an advance payment guarantee as stipulated by the Act. It was supplied by the then bank PHB PLC. And based on that, the then minister, not me, because I was still governor of Lagos then, approved, and I think he did so properly, payment of 99.414 million If you calculate that amount, it is 15% of the contract sum. So that was the first payment that the contractor received. And this was in 2011, not in 2016, not in 2017, not in 2018, or not in 2019, as the petitioner has alleged before you. These were payments in furtherance of executing the contract. And I believe that apparently having mobilized to site, they submitted another statement. And it was on the basis of that statement that payment was made on the 29th of December, 2011. Please note those days, 29th December 2011, for 52,094,785 naira and 46 kobo. That's the second payment that the contractor got. It was based on an interim statement. And if you add that to the one to the 99.4, it was made on the 29th of December 2011, sir. Again, I was still in Lagos as governor. And this administration that appointed me had not even come to light. This was 4 years before this administration came to light. That was when the second payment was made. And that's 151 million total. That's 52.094 plus 99.414. It will total 1.51. And I think that is the amount that has been perhaps grossly and erroneously misstated as payments made in 2016 and 2019. Those payments were made since 2011, and I wasn't here. I didn't make those payments. This administration didn't make those payments, contrary to the allegations in the petition before you. But as things wore on, if you go to paragraph 8 of our response, you will see that the ministry became unsatisfied with the performance of the work. And in 2014, warning letters were issued. One was dated the 5th of March, 2014. And in June 2015, June 15, 2015, in the life of this administration, a final warning letter to terminate the contract was issued. We were unsatisfied with what we were seeing.
First warning letter was issued when?
2014, before this administration.
You were not the minister then?
No, it wasn't me.
Good.
In 2015 also, I wasn't minister in June. I was appointed in November. But just to show you what the ministry has done, they were not satisfied with the state of work, and they were taking steps to determine the contract. Of course, if you look into your records, you will see that from 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, there was no budget for this project. None. If you go through the budget started coming in 2018 when we received representations again that, look, this road has not been completed and the steps to complete it were being considered. Now, if you go to paragraph 9 on page 4, it is no secret that this administration has committed to completing as many of the projects that it inherited. And even this parliament has invited us before about quote and unquote abandoned projects. And I have been on record as saying that, well, we were committed to doing as much as we can. And so the fact that there are now budgetary provisions in 2018, 2019, right through to 2021, does not mean Budget is not cash. It's a statement of intended expenditure. And before we touch the budget, there must be works done, there must be certification, and so on and so forth, and then it must be processed. There must be approvals right up to the minister's level. Vouchers must be raised for the payment. So none of this has happened on this road. So the fact that there's a budget, because I've read a lot of things in the newspaper, Fashola's ministry, paying contractor, and all of those funny reporting, is just to make the point that no payment has been processed other than those 2 payments from our records. So if the petitioner has any proof of any payments beyond those payments, let him produce them. Our records do not show any such payments. So, just for members of the public who are interested, who may be watching, there has to be actual work done. The work has to be measured. It has to be certified before any payments can be recommended for consideration and for approval. This is how government works, and this is how we work. So, let me just summarize, therefore, by saying that the contractor, Cartil, did not claim any monies between 2016 and 2019, contrary to what the petition stated. The payments they made were in 2011, based on the guarantee they submitted, and for the interim statement that they generated. The Ministry of Works and Housing also did not make any payment to Cartil Construction between 2016 and 2019. We did not. And we did not certify any work on that road between that period either, 2016, 2019, as alleged by the petitioner. As I've said, the 2 payments that were made to the contractor were made 4 years before the commencement of this administration. That was the last going to December 2011. As I have said, the road in question is not even a federal road. We would ordinarily have no business on that road if projects are not initiated here and put in our ministry. That's the truth. Now, as to whether Redeem got onto the road, or whether Pastor Deboe awarded a contract on the road or financed anything, the question must also be asked whether it is a state or federal road, right? And in this case, this was where we had an existing contract. Yes, there is a welcome to the desire to do good, to support government, but it has to be done also according to a set rules. There is the Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme, around which the President has issued an order about how to engage. There is also guidelines issued before I became minister about how to intervene on a federal road. You must write.
How to intervene on the state road?
I can only speak for federal, sir.
No, intervention on the state road.
By the federal government.
Yes.
Yes. No, say that again, sir.
Intervention by the federal government on a state road through the Ministry of Works.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So, the process requires that, and members of the public may wish to know that federal roads are designed according to a minimum level of design. So, if you want to intervene, you have to build according to the level of our specification. And these are matters we have to agree. And this is the basis, the design that is the basis for the costing. of how much you are supposed to spend. Whether you are even doing it for free, or whether you plan to claim a refund. So I would like the petitioner to also tell us whether they have such an approval to get onto a road, state or federal. Because this has been a recurring issue, because I see them saying, oh, if you should pay anybody, pay us.
No, that's not the question. Honourable Minister, by RCCG. And therefore, the Kali construction has no basis of claiming for an abandoned project, and that such money should be returned back to the federal government purse, not to RCCG. The claim was, they are claiming that the money should be refunded back to federal government.
Mr. Chairman, there are instances where the contractor starts well, and either for reasons which vary really, their performance dwindles. Sometimes a warning letter is just enough to get them back. There are other instances where by the time you have that interregnum, prices of basic materials have changed. And they are telling you that, look, we can't continue. There's so many things. And so we're dealing with each one on their merits. And with respect, I have acted for contractor in my life as a litigation private lawyer. I've acted for contractor against the client in my previous life, and I've acted for the client against the contractor. And that's why in this process, I defer to the legal department to advise us when sometimes we want to go to court. They say, look, these are the defenses we are going to meet. In some cases, there are some that are in arbitration, there are some that we have to settle. These disputes, they go on. But it is not that, as I said, we are twiddling our thumb and doing nothing. In some cases, they sue us. Part of our defense is also to counterclaim that, look, we want you to put us back in the position where we would have been when we paid you this money. Because as one of the distinguished senators said, what was the value of money at the time? But there are so many other considerations. One of the legacies of the past was that there were years when existing projects had zero budget, zero. And I think that one of the things that has changed was that at least that is not happening anymore. So if contractors see zero, clearly you don't expect them to do anything. And this contractor, from my own records, had zero in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. And that was the 2017, and that was the period he was supposed to be getting payment. So there would have been even no budget head to raise the voucher against. But in conclusion, your concerns are concerns of the ministry, and we will act finally on the advice of the legal department.
So another one, finally, that the money paid to the contractor, he earned it.
Can be a matter of final advice to me.
No,
the first step, as you said, was go and start work, mobilization.
Yes.
Second step was
Interim certificate.
Yeah. How much of the mobilization has been recovered? Those are matters for final accounting when we settle.
That's what I wanted to hear from him. That whether he earned that the money paid to him, he earned it.
Yes. The reason of what was the reason of terminating the contract? We haven't done that yet.
Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished senators, once we commence work and a contractor has been mobilized with 15%, we now gradually, once he attains 30% of 30% completion, we now begin to gradually amortize our advance payments. and then we finally amortize it fully once we get to 80%. That is the way we operate. So this contractor in question, as at the time, as at 2011, was able to achieve only 26%. So the process of even recovering the advance payment had not even started. Thank you.
Making correction or correcting some of the statement earlier made by the Honorable Minister. I'd like to state very clearly that the core of this petition is not against the Ministry of Works and Housing. The basis for this petition is to call Nigerians to the corruption that is going on, especially on road construction in this country. When Pastor Adeboye intervened, it was because his people called him. When that road became a den of thieves and kidnappers. And when he was summoned, of course, we have a part to apologize for not going through proper procedure for that purpose, for the intervention. We'll get back to that. But the point being made is that curtail Nigerian construction should be made to refund. We did a little to resolve these things within the constituency itself. Unfortunately, we didn't go further because of pieces of information that got to us. And on the basis of that, we felt erroneously though, that the best place for the society to hear us, the country to hear us, is here. And that's why we came to this Honorable Senate. Now, as to whether certain funds were released after the 2011 and thereabout, we do not have claims. What we got to know was that certain steps were taken. Because when we were here the other day, the man who spoke on behalf of the cartel was insisting that what they got was 140-something million, not 150-something million. But we thank God now today that the minister, Honorable Minister, has been able to clear that for us. We did not also say that this road was awarded to us or to the Redeemed Christian Church of God. No. But that our intervention was as a result of the cry of the people of that community to us. The Honorable Minister has pointed some of the things that, by the grace of God, we have learned here today, which in our further or future interventions, we're going to apply correctly. Now, I would also like to state that the Redeemed Christian Church of God, or me, that is the petitioner, on behalf of my principal, did not go to the press. We have never spoken to the press. We have never released any press release on this matter to date. So if anything comes up or has come up, it's not through us. Maybe because of the petition here. And the intention is not to embarrass the government or to embarrass the Ministry of Works. I would like to say, with due respect to the Honorable Minister, that maybe, and because of what we have just heard today now, we are glad we are hearing it. And the Nigerian people are also hearing it. That steps are being taken to take and deal with construction companies that are through the back door denying this nation resources that should be made available to do great things that will benefit the common man. 2010. And then I remember a notice was sent earlier on, and when they came, they told us that they did not abandon that road. In other words, our position that Cartil did not construct that road stands. And there is no lies about that, no deception about that. The process that leads to the construction could be faulted by the ministry, may not be acceptable to the ministry, but the fact that that road was constructed and that this money should go back to the Nigerian Post, that is the motivation.
You have a point there. You have a point there. But for the ministry,
yes,
as explained by the, Mr. Chairman, as explained by the Honorable Minister, the steps that were taken from 2010 up to 2015, he has explained it all. Let me tell you, you cannot present a petition to the Senate and then go home to feel that it's not before the public. Well, this is a public environment. Any petition to us is a petition to all Nigerians. You understand? It's a look at what is happening here. Everybody is here. The press is here. Those who are not here, they will listen to the news and they will get to know what happened in the National Assembly. The difference between here and the executive is that whatever we do here is before the public. So when you brought a presentation, I want you to address what the Honorable Minister said about steps that ordinarily, although you have said you have taken some steps wrongly, but I want you to conclude. If you have taken steps wrongly, there is a normal gentleman way of rounding up, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, thank you, sir. Distinguished Senator. I was going to go to that. That's why I said my conclusion. There is no doubting the fact that the Ministry of Works deserves an apology from us. And because the whole world is listening to us, I tender that apology unreservedly before this Senate committee. However, I am saying that those things he pointed out, we agree point blank that it was our omission. And it's not going to reoccur in our future dealings, on our interventions, on any time, any moment we decide to do it. So, Honorable Minister, please, on behalf of Pastor Adeboye, I'd like to apologize to you for whatever this has brought to the government under your watch. Now, that, however, that apology does not in any way remove the fact, which is the core of this petition, that Cartil Construction Nigeria Limited should be made to refund every single kobo collected. And I'm glad that the Honorable Minister has already hinted at that it's already in the process. And the fact that they were queried twice, and they told us here the last time, yes, they abandoned for about 6-7 years. And then how I wish they had come with their presentation, because they claimed that day, on the 10th of March, that they were coming here to do a virtual presentation to prove to us that they did and they constructed the road. Thank you so much.
The Senate, this committee acts as the voice of the voiceless Nigerians. We also want to commend Pastor Adeboye for his just try to assist Nigerians in social infrastructure. They are not in government. They don't know procedure to follow. What they follow is that this road is bad. It's a den of killing innocent Nigeria. They invested 188 million. But when they now heard that somebody have collected the money for not doing the job, they wrote petition to the Senate. And we had it all today. I want to thank the Honorable Minister for throwing more light. But my question is this. There's no smoke without a fire. Honorable Minister, you're a politician. You don't know the game, people working under you. They are civil servants. Government come and go, civil servant remains. I still want to charge you with a responsibility, Mr. Honorable Minister. When was this second payment made? Though you wrote 29 December here. We want to know when it was actually made. It is after these people realizes that This road is being constructed by Adeboye. Let us raise certificate to make some money. Maybe around 55 million have been shared by civil servants in this case. You don't know. It's what they want you to know, Mr. Honorable Minister, that civil servants will bring for you. I want you to go further to investigate this when this second payment was paid. If 199 million was paid for representing what do you call it, mobilization, they must have moved to site, do some job before second payment can be up for payment. So let us know exactly when this second payment was made, so that at least we'll be able to be just and equitable. Because if these people have not done any job and they have gone away with 151 million, that's what my colleagues have resolved, that you should go into it and pursue the payment for it to be returned back to the government purse. So my own question, like I said, Mr. Honorable Minister, is to determine whether no foul play has taken place. Because if these people have been abandoned for 7 or 8 years, and they now, civil servants now see that this road is being constructed, it has been awarded to some people, before let's use it to make money. They may have used this money to make money. Use this, the job constructed by Chief Adeboye, Pastor Adeboye. They must have seen it. Okay, the road that has been abandoned for about 6 or 7 years has now been constructed, and Pastor Adebo has now come to us to get go-ahead instruction to do this. Let us use it to make payment. That may be what has happened. You need to do further investigation, Mr. Honorable Minister, so that at least he has apologized for not taking due procedure for executing the job, and they have seen the light of the day that you have that 151 million, 508 million represent the two payment, 15% mobilization, and then the interim certificate of payment, 52 million, making the total amount. So these are areas we will also want you, sir, to help us and help the system, that nobody is clever than God, because issues have been generated. Now we have seen clarification, but those civil servants working under you, you see no need to go deep into this. Has any other payment made on this job? If the answer is no, so we'll rest our case. Thank you.
You leave a very sour taste in my mouth, sir. I'm sorry, sir. A very sour taste. I think that there are no sides. There are no sides between politicians who contest to run for office and civil servants who work, dedicate a career of a lifetime to also serve their nation. We are all doing the same thing. I think that the impartial waters that this esteemed body should maintain will be better served by relying on the material that has been placed before you. The petitioner has walked back his petition, essentially. And I think that to begin to attempt to say maybe civil servants, directors did something or did not do something, with respect, sir, very great respect to your office and to your person. It's a matter of speculation and undeserving of these public servants. Give them their day in the sun. This is one. They provided all this material. I was not here. And I think we should commend them. So, that's saying that maybe they have done something under. I think, Mr. Chairman, please, sir, you have the final say. Let me just answer your question by saying that, first to Pastor Adebayo, that I do not feel offense from the day I entered this public space. I expect that all sorts of things will be thrown at me. But on behalf of these public servants and our ministry, I accept the apology. The apology is theirs, not mine. I wasn't here when it happened. And I would just ask you to give our sincere regards to Baba and send my best wishes and that of my family to him. and to Mama. But the final point, Mr. Chairman, the answer to your question actually lies in paragraph 8 of our response. 26.21% of the work had been done as at the time that payment was made in December. That's the second payment. So our records show what we paid for. And it is these people that must be commended who kept these records. And my brother, who has been here for a long time, James, distinguished Senator James Manager. He's very good experience too. Very good experience, not to be thrown away. Not to be thrown away. That's why he can approach things perhaps the way he does. The point I was going to make, really, is that if those records had not been kept, there would have been nothing for us to go by. The nation would have been held in the stranglehold of they said, he said, rumors and rumors. But these records show that work was done. It then stopped. As I said earlier, if you go into your budget for the years, there were periods also when there was no budget for these roads. So if there was no budget, how was the contractor going to be paid? The reality today is that once contractors look at the budget and they see it's only 50 million or 10 million, they just keep their equipment idle and wait. So they see these budgets. But this speaks to a larger matter, another matter that perhaps is this committee may just want to look, how do we deal with proper budgeting for our roads? I have advocated bulk budgeting. We are going to spend 10 naira on all roads in Nigeria. We list all the roads. But don't put 2 naira for contractor A, don't put 3 naira for contractor B. Create competition. The first to finish gets paid. That's what we did way back in Lagos. Once contractor says, oh, they put 2 naira on my road, 2 naira is not worth moving my equipment, he stops. Those are matters of public good that can come out from your recommendation, maybe to plenary and perhaps into lawmaking. Thank you very much.